Dreams do not come true while you are complaining to yourself, as much as you talk about your desires. If there is no internal discipline, everything will remain only in the field of words. A millennial wisdom teaches that, without effort, even a seed cannot break the earth to germinate. Many people live under the illusion that external circumstances are the great villains that prevent them from achieving their goals. But the truth is that, most of the time, the biggest obstacle is within each one. Being condescending to oneself can sound as self-care, but in practice it becomes self-sabotage. Phrases like "I'm tired today," "start tomorrow," or "this is very difficult," "I do," then become a vicious cycle. Day after day, the dream is distancing itself until it becomes regret. An old parable says that a disciple sought his master and said, "I want to learn, but I have difficulty waking up early." The sage replied, "If you are weak in the morning, you will remain weak all day. But if you are firm at dawn, all day will be yours." The message is clear. A small victory over yourself in the morning establishes the foundations for all the following achievements. Modern studies confirm this idea. With other words, our brain has a natural tendency to seek the easiest way, opting for immediate pleasures and avoiding any discomfort. However, real growth only happens when we face challenges. If you are complacent, remain stagnant. If you learn to be firm, it is strengthened. This is the true development mindset. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and survivor of the Holocaust, stated that meaning gives the strength to overcome any adversity, but without discipline, even the noblest purpose loses its power. A dream without firmness is just a fantasy. On the contrary, when you demand yourself a little more than comfortable every day, the dream begins to take shape in reality. It is possible to say that you want a new life, but if each morning allows you to stay in the comfort zone, nothing will change. Therefore, the dream requires firmness, not in the sense of cruelty to oneself, but of a firm hand that guides in the right direction. Compliance often disguises themselves as kindness. I won't force myself. I deserve to rest. But when this rest becomes a habit of postponing everything that is difficult, you are actually stealing your own future. As an old proverb says, "Whoever saves too much ends with nothing." I met a talented young man in our community who dreamed of becoming a doctor. Everyone believed in his potential, but each morning he repeated, "Today I am exhausted. Tomorrow I study." Tomorrow turned weeks, then months, until, in the end, he didn't even try to college. His dream did not die for lack of opportunity, but for excessive compliance. My grandfather, after the war, returned with nothing, no money, no strength, no perspectives. But he imposed himself a rule: every day I will take at least one step. It was not allowed, not even when the body hurt. This determination transformed him from a man without resources into someone respected, whom many were looking for advice. He did not build his life by luck, but by firmness to himself. Neuroscientists explain that our brain is programmed to save energy, always looking for the easiest way. However, it is precisely the effort and resistance that create new neural connections. When we choose convenience, the mind weakens. When we opted for the challenge, we become stronger, and this force accumulates, turning us into different people. Angela Duckworth, a psychologist known for her perseverance studies, calls a grit a combination of passion and persistence. This is not talent or luck, but the habit of not giving up and not sparing. This is what makes the difference where others abandon. An old story illustrates this. Anyone who builds a soft clay wall expects him to fall apart. Those who use stone know they will resist. Your life is like this wall. If you build it with concessions, she runs. If you build with discipline, you will endure any storm. There is a dangerous illusion, the belief that dreams come true alone, just believing and waiting for the right moment. But the reality is that this moment never comes. Waiting for the perfect occasion is the same as postponing life. I met a person who always said, when adding a little money, a BMY business, "When children grow up, I take care of me. When you spend the winter, a new life begins." Years have passed, the children grew up, the forces were running out, and all that was left was repentance. His dream died for lack of action and passive waiting. In our tradition, it is said, "Whoever waits for the perfect day never begins." Those who prosper start with little, those who fail the ideal moment, and the difference between them becomes an abyss. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman explained that our mind tends to postpone what is difficult, hoping that after that does not exist. The only time we have is the present. The true firmness is to start now, even with fear, even feeling unprepared. An acquaintance of mine opened a bakery in the middle of the economic crisis. Everyone laughed. "You're crazy. This is the worst moment." But he replied, "If I don't start today, I will never start." Years later, his bakery became a successful network. He didn't wait for the opportunity, he created her. Ancient wisdom has always repeated, whoever walks is guided, whoever stands out is surpassed by the road. You can spend a lifetime waiting for the ideal moment that will never come, but if you take the first step today, the path will open in front of you. Firmness is not synonymous with excessive rigor, but honesty. Honesty to recognize that if you don't start now, you will never start. Compliance also feeds another trap, the habit of giving up in half. You start with enthusiasm, but at the first sign of difficulty, an internal voice whispers, "Why do you work so hard?" At that moment, everything collapses. In our community, a young man decided to study the sacred texts. In the early weeks, he woke up early and was dedicated late. But after a month, he said, "It's very difficult. I've done more than the others." Gave up. Another, however, continued, step by step, despite the tiredness and doubts. Years later, the former regretted the lost time, while the second became a respected leader. Current research calls this the power of small steps. James Clear, the Sellers, author of Habits, shows that small actions generate great results, but complacency destroys the entire system. Just give in once for the jail to break. Just say today I can rest so that tomorrow is harder, and the day after tomorrow. You stop completely. Ancient wisdom teaches, don't look at the whole mountain, focus on the next step. Being firm with yourself does not mean climbing mountains every day, but not allowing you to stop. It means taking a step even when you don't feel like learning a line, even when your forces are on the edge. My grandmother confirmed that. He sewed every day, without clearance, to support his children. Sometimes his hands trembled, others fell asleep on the machine. But he said, if it stops today, tomorrow we will have nothing to eat. His firmness saved the family. You can dream of the future, but if you give in to the little things, you will lose the big ones. True strength is to move on, even when everything asks to stop. Being firm also means knowing how to say no to the superfluous. Compliance whispers, take it all, try it all, accept everything. But in the end, you scatter yourself and do nothing with excellence. Firmness says, choose the essentials and embrace just that. In our tradition, this is the basis for a life of purpose. There are principles of life that comes down to a simple maxim, less, but better. My grandfather always repeated, if you run after two rabbits, you'll run out of dinner. He only assumed what made sense and led to the end. Therefore, people respected him. It was not dispersed. It was reliable. Modern thinkers confirm this wisdom. Greg McKeown writes that a life full of everything actually empties our time. Cal Newport recalls, attention is our most valuable asset. If we allow small things to steal, there will be no strength left for the essentials. Being firm with oneself means saying no even when it's pleasant, so as not to lose what really matters. I met a neighbor who opened a small store. I received offers from new business, easy money and distractions, but refused everything. He said, I am building mine. While I am not solid, I will assume nothing further. Years later, that store became the basis of a successful network. His discipline gave him prosperity. Compliance, on the other hand, destroys. She whispers, you realize from everything fits in your time, but this is illusion. Who embraces 10 projects does not conclude any. Life becomes chaos. Jewish wisdom teaches, better little purpose than very meaningless. So firmness is not a punishment, but a protection. It defends us from dispersion, chaos, and the illusion that we can be everywhere at the same time. To the dream. There is yet another side of complacency, the excuse. We are masters in inventing reasons to postpone. I have no time. I have no energy. No, it's not time. But the truth is that it is not the circumstances that prevent us. We are ourselves who give ourselves permission not to act. I met a man who dreamed of being a writer. I always said, I'll start when you have a good desk, a new computer, when the inspiration comes. He waited for perfect conditions, and the years went through. Your books never left the paper. Already a friend of mine wrote every night in pieces of paper. There was no table, no computer, no silence, but it had discipline. He said, if you don't write today, tomorrow it will be even harder. Today, thousands read your books. Modern researchers call this antifragility. True strength is born in imperfect conditions. Firmness does not expect the ideal day. She uses what she has and transforms into a result. A Jewish parable says, anyone waiting for the wind to blow never to see. If we look forward to everything convenient, we will never start. Being firm is to sing even with the opposite wind. Complacency makes us hostage to circumstances. Discipline makes us owners of their own destiny. So every time you feel like justifying yourself, ask, is this true or just an excuse? Most of the time, the answer will be the second, and this is exactly at this point that firmness is necessary. Discipline is not just to do the difficult, but to fulfill the word given to yourself. Many promise, Monday I start running, tomorrow I stop spending without need. But when the time comes, the compliance whispered, today it can jump. It makes no difference. And so, the dream dies, step by step. Jewish wisdom warns, he who does not fulfill what he promises to himself will build nothing, for if you do not trust yourself, no one will trust. I remember a man in our community that decided to spare for the family. Every week I put a small amount in an envelope. It laughed at him, so little. Will it change your life? But he persisted, without fail. Years later, those economies became great achievements. His discipline gave him respect and stability. Modern studies prove the habit of fulfilling the word itself shapes character. Each I did strengthened self-confidence, each I gave up Koroi. And there is no worse enemy than losing faith in itself. Firmness is not a punishment, but respect for their own commitment. When you say, I will do it, even if it's hard, even if no one see, because that's what builds strength. Compliance slowly destroys dreams. Transform I will do into I will try and maybe. But dreams require clarity. They are only realized for those who are uncompromising. Remember, fulfilling the word given to yourself is the first break of any dream. Then we'd arrived at the heart of the matter. A dream is not a gift of destiny, but the fruit of discipline and firmness. Every great result was built not with inspiration or convenience, but with the ability to say no when I wanted to say, and act when I wanted to postpone. Jewish wisdom teaches, he who is rigorous with himself is a suit with his destiny. Who is a suit with himself makes life rigorous. In this sentence is all the truth. Today's concessions become tomorrow's regrets. Today's discipline becomes the freedom of tomorrow. Modern thinkers confirm, attention, discipline, and habits are the basis of wealth, success, and happiness. Whoever waits for the inspiration is waiting. Those who act without concessions gather results. What can you do today? 1. Choose a promise to yourself and keep it to the end. No excuses. 2. Eliminate a complacency that steals your strength. One more hour on your cell phone, a necessary expense, a concession that weakens it. 3. Take a step towards the dream today, however small. Let it be the first currency in savings, the first page of the book, the first day of running. Remember, dreams come to who is willing to pay the price. And the price is always the same, firmness to yourself. But it is the most honest way to pay, because it is the one who transforms desire into reality. You are not weak, you just forgot the power of discipline and purpose. Recover it, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comment. Here we learn to live so that dreams cease to be words and become our destiny.